All right. Hi, everyone. So for my Stackathon project, I decided to build an online game. It's called Doodlee. It's basically a telephone game meets Pictionary app. It's based off of an existing game called Scrawl that's already out there. So to give a quick game overview, it's a 4-player game. All players start by drawing a picture of their choice. They pass that picture over to the next player, who describes it in text, passes that text over to the next player, who describes it drawing another picture, and then they pass that drawing over to the last player, who describes it in text again. So that's one complete rotation. So in order to do that, I had to basically keep track of what each player should be seeing on their screen to guess from. That was different for every player. And also persist what they draw or whatever text they write into the correct player's object, which is basically the player that originally drew the drawing for that path. So in order to do that, well, in order to build my app, these are the technologies that I used. But the main one that was really helpful for this game was Firebase. I used Firebase for its real-time database service. So in order to create and update player objects and also change what's being rendered on each player's screen at the same time based on what has been persisted to the database. And I also use some vanilla JavaScript rotation logic to get that to work. So I'll do a quick demo now. Since it needs 4 players, I have 4 windows open. There's already 3 players joined in the game, so I'm going to add another player. And that is what will start the game automatically. So I will do another lovely friends character. And so the game has now started. So I'll just play it from one player's perspective. Naharka decides to draw some very lovely mountains. There's a 15-second timer, at which point this will be saved in the database and will show up on the next player's screen. So player 2 sees the mountains and is like, clearly, these look like triangles. And the 15-second timer is going currently. I'd like to add that up here so each player can see how long they have left, but that's an enhancement for the future. So player 3 now draws some triangles. And the timer's running. It's submitted to the 4th player, who is like, clearly, these are pumpkin eyes. It's all about perception with this game. So I'll let the timer run. And at the end, all players get to the screen where they see that the game is over, and they can click on each player's name to kind of see what it started with and what it led to. Cool. So some features that I'd like to add. Currently, it's hard-coded for 4 players just because of the complexity of the rotation logic. So I'd like to change that so anywhere from 3 to 8 players can play, for example, which makes telephone game way more interesting. I'd also like to add scoring at the end to kind of make it competitive. So each player gives a point to a player that they thought had the most interesting rendition of their drawing or something to that effect. So that's Doodlee. Thanks.